Welcome back to the Salty Podcast, episode 33, where it's always a great day to talk about sailing. I'm your host, Captain Tinsley of Salty Abandon and Island Packet 320. And tonight, my guest is Ulrika. I hope I'm saying that right. She's here to share her incredible story. She's the proud owner of Serantium. I hope I'm saying that right. A 1995 Island Packet 40 that she is currently sailing from British Columbia to Mexico. She's always dreamed of doing something special and found peace on the ocean away from the hustle and bustle. And a few years ago, she started saying, I want to sail home, which I need for her to explain that, which led her to sell everything she owned. And while researching blue water boats, she kept coming across the same boat online. A friend handed her a computer with the listing, and the rest is history. And since then, Ulrika has transformed Serantium, adding many upgrades to her new-to-her sailboat. And as any boat owner knows, that can be quite unending. So tonight, we'll dive into what motivated her to embark on this solo adventure, how she prepared, and how the many challenges that she's facing. Get ready to be inspired by her story of courage and the call of sailing. So let's get right into it with Ulrika. And I know I'm messing up all these names, so go ahead and tell me again, how do you say that name?
My name is Ulrika.
Ulrika. Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize for butchering that. But
worse.
Welcome to the Salty Podcast. And as I mentioned, you're sailing from British Columbia to Mexico down the West Coast.
Yeah.
And so tell me that my first question for you is, what initially inspired you to pursue sailing, and how did you know it was your true calling?
Well, I think I started sailing probably about 15, it's been more, 15 years ago. I started sailing bigger boats. And I always found it so peaceful just to get away from everything, like the hustle and the bustle that you mentioned. And I always felt like I wanted to go further. And I knew at one point in my life I was going to own my own boat, because I had previously co-owned boats and just sailed on friends' boats, and which I was supposed to go with somebody else. And then I just realized that I want to do this on my own. I want to follow my own journey and my own vision. So I started looking for my own boat.
Yeah, I noticed that on your I guess it's your website, that you said that you weren't intending on buying a boat, but it just kind of happened.
Yeah, the more I just, I've always, I think, as many women probably do, we doubt our capabilities maybe of doing something like this. It's a bit of a man's world in the sailing industry. And
we're definitely anomalies.
Yeah. And yeah, so I always thought, oh no, there's no way I can do something like that. And a friend of mine told me, she said, sailing is sailing, anchoring is anchoring, docking is docking, and it doesn't change that much. The most difficult part of owning your own boat is that you have to know your own systems, and you have to be able to maintain and repair and troubleshoot. And that's, and I thought, well, I can always learn. So.
And have you learned that? That is tough.
I'm still learning, and I will learn probably for the next 10 years. So I'm learning every day.
YouTube is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And connections and friends and people you run across. And I feel like in the sailing world, everybody wants to help you. And as soon as you say that you want to go offshore and start sailing, and you're sailing on your own, then people, they just open up and they just say, what do you need? I can help with this. And yeah, so it's been an amazing journey so far.
It's true. Even on my trips, I'll be in a marina and something will break, and a sailor on, and a couple or somebody will come over and help me out and help me fix something.
Yeah.
And of
Yeah.
course, if you have a credit card, that also helps.
Yes. Yeah. It's not cheap.
Yeah. So, can you tell us some more about the moment you decided to sell everything and commit to this sailing adventure?
Yeah, it was about 3 years ago that I started thinking that if I'm gonna leave, I'm either gonna have to rent out my house. I had a home on an acre, and it's quite a lot to do on the property. Um, and it was always something to do, and I just felt like the closer
Yeah.
I got to the day when I wanted to leave, the more I thought, I can't see me sitting out in the middle of an ocean getting a email saying a tree fell in the house or somebody got hurt on my property, like a renter. And I just thought, I'm just going to sell it and see what happens. And
Okay.
yeah, I was lucky. It was the right time.
And was that hard to give up your house? Because I will probably do that someday.
Yeah, initially it felt like, no, I really like this house. I like my home. I like my things. But then at the end of the day, it's just things.
Right.
I don't know. It's just you can replace it all. And it's not
Right.
really giving you an experience. It wasn't going to give me the experience I was looking for. And I knew I was always looking to do something. I wanted to see the world, and I didn't want to get on another airplane. And I just thought, once you have the boat, there's a lot of expenses to go along with that, but you don't really have your day to day is fairly cheap.
Right. Especially if you can fix stuff yourself.
Yeah,
Looks
which
like,
I'm learning.
yeah. Let me see. I think we have a comment here. Uh, oh, so, okay. Somebody has a comment. You can see it at the bottom of your screen. Augustus Wright. Is this somebody you know? Sometimes we get questions from
No,
people that I'm interviewing. Okay,
no.
what are you doing for keeping watch while sleeping? Oh, I can answer this too. Radar zones, AIS. Go ahead.
Well, I have AIS and I have lots of alarms on the boat, and I would set my own alarm so I wouldn't sleep any more than probably 4 hours. Um, but yeah, you just make sure you stay out of the traffic lanes and you're far enough off the coast that there's nothing too surprising that's going to come your way. So AIS for sure.
Yeah. So Gabby says we become prisoners
Yeah,
in our own homes. I like that.
yeah, it's an anchor, and it's not the anchor that I would like to have. it's
Yes. Thank you, Gabby and Augustus. Keep those questions coming. And when I'm making a crossing, and I'm talking about like a 2-day crossing, I just nap in the cockpit and I just seem to naturally wake up. I don't know if it's every 30 minutes or every 60 minutes. And I too have AIS and
Yeah.
just kind of give it a look around and
Mhm. Yeah, you don't sleep very soundly. It's
no.
the light sleep.
Yeah. Right. So let's see. There was something else I wanted to ask about. Oh, I
Mhm.
remember on the Women Who Sail. I don't know if you've ever been on that Facebook group.
I have actually.
Um,
I just signed on 3 days ago.
okay. Some of those folks were saying that they got rid of everything and it was like the most freeing thing, and they were trying to figure out how to get rid of stuff, how to get rid of furniture, and some people had ideas like give their furniture to the hurricane victims.
Oh
I know you don't have hurricanes where you are, but
no, we don't. Yeah, the only thing I kept was all my photo albums, which I gave to my kids. They have them, and some of the furniture they also have, or my son has them, because I just the stuff that was special to me. I built some furniture, so that was special, and he took those. But I gave away clothing to. We have a store in the town where I lived, that you donate clothing and they can buy it for cheap. There are people who needs it, and yeah, I just gave gave items away to my friends, and I had free pickup for anybody that saw my Facebook, my marketplace ad. So lots went just as giveaways. Yes, so cars and bikes, and yeah, I didn't get very much
Oh,
money, but it's freed me up completely.
yeah. And no, you don't have all that insurance to pay for either.
Oh yeah, Starlink is all I'm paying for right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um, I forgot what I was going to ask you there, but okay. So I'll go to the next question. There was something I wanted to ask. Say the name of the boat again.
Serantium.
Serantium. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Well, what I understand, it's a book from it's a novel, and it's a city. It's a made up city, and the book is called Sailing to Serantium, which is what the
I
previous
saw
owner,
that.
previous owners had named it. So I haven't read the book. I started. It's a long
Well, you
book.
got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's show the boat. This is a beautiful 1995 Island Packet 40.
Yeah.
And I'm an Island Packet owner, so this is just beautiful to me. Well, it is to most people. I know from pulling into all the marinas I've been in, it always gets attention. A beautiful Island Packet, and so let's talk about a little bit what you've done to it. You said it was in good shape as far as the rigging and all this.
Yeah.
Tell
It
us
was in
a little
beautiful
bit.
shape. They kept the previous owners. It was bought from Florida, obviously. And then I think it's been used on lakes mostly, and then it came up to Anacortes up here on the west coast, and used as a cottage more or less. And then the owners after that, they kept it under winter cover all winter long, because and then they just came from Ontario, central Canada, and they would sail it for 2 months out of the year. So it's been lightly used. So I was
Wow.
really, really lucky to find this. And the island packets, they go quickly. Once they hit the market, you got to be right on it, and you have to make an offer right away in order to get.
Especially if it's in that good a shape.
Yeah, and there's not many of them on this coast. I know there's
Okay.
quite a few probably down in Florida.
Well, when I found my 320 and it was in good shape, and I had looked at some others and they weren't, and I grabbed it up quickly. Okay, so
Mhm.
you have a question here. Why an
Yeah.
IP40? What considerations
Um,
did you make with regards to size, sloop, full keel versus fin?
yeah.
Did you look at other types? Is 40 big enough, or could you have gone bigger? That's a lot of
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah. So let's just start with size. I think 40 is a good size for being able to handle it yourself. I didn't want to go any lower than 38, and I didn't want to go any bigger than 44. Um, I like the cutter option because you can put a small staysail up.
Hmm.
Mostly, I'll be using the staysail, I think. Um, just especially at night, I'll be
Yeah.
using half. I have a in boom roller furling system, so I'll have probably the main sail down to half, and then have the staysail up maybe during the night when I'm sleeping. So that was a good. That was something I was looking for. Full keel. I like the full keel. It's just more stable of a boat. I know it's a bit slower, but it just makes it for a more comfortable ride.
Yeah,
Um,
it's safe.
yeah, I did look at other boats. Halberg Rassi is kind of one of my favorites. Sorry, IP owners, but um,
What was it? What did you say?
Halberg Rassi is a Swedish boat. It's a
Oh, okay.
beautiful boat. It's also very good offshore. Um, they're a little bit more money, especially here. So I had my eye on some of those. But Island Packet was the boat that kept coming up as a really good blue water boat. And so, but like I said before, they disappeared quickly. Once they're on the market, they're bought up quickly, especially on this coast.
I
So
guess you
no,
should tell people you're Swedish.
yeah, Yes, I'm which is where I'm sailing to eventually. Um,
Yeah, that's what you mean. That's what you meant when you said I want to sail home.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Um, I came to Canada, what is it, in 1991? No, 1987. Um, and I was just traveling, and I ended up just staying, and it wasn't a plan that I had. I ended up meeting somebody, we had a family, and I just ended up staying. And then over the years, the older I get, the more homesick I've become.
Yeah.
And so I knew I wanted to eventually move back. Um, and then I thought one day, I thought, I'm just going to retire early and buy a boat and I'll sail home. And if it takes me 10 years to get there, then I've had an adventure. So we'll
Well,
see.
it's a good boat to do that in, to go across the Atlantic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an incredible boat. When I have people to help me work on this boat, they're like, wow, this might be my new favorite boat. I love these island packets. They're pretty amazing.
Have you solo sailed it, taking it out of the slip by yourself and everything?
Yeah. It's funny. I've been on
Good.
anchor a long time. And today a friend of mine came to visit and I had to bring the boat in because I'm going to have a marine electrician look over the electrical one more time before I out. And so I
Okay.
had to take it into a marina here in Victoria, British Columbia. And I was coming in. I had all my fenders out, but I forgot to put the lines, the docking lines on. So
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm
So
on this
someone could grab the lines.
narrow slip, and I hadn't known, so I had to run down and find them and put them on. So I can do all that myself. It's a small enough boat, but because I haven't been docking lately, I've just been sitting on anchor everywhere. I kind of forgot
You got
what
spoiled.
to do, and there was some employees here that helped me, some younger guys, and they helped me get it in.
Yeah,
The,
that's a
the
good thing
narrow,
when you come into a marina, you can always there's always dock hands to help you, you know.
yeah,
'Cause that's
I
what
had
I
two of
do
them.
most of mine solo also.
Yeah, yeah. It
Oh,
was, and it's big expensive boats all around me, and it was a bit nerve
oh,
wracking.
okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but no,
Okay.
it's small. It's big. It's small enough that I can easily handle it on my own. So
Right. I would do it.
yeah, yeah,
I'm unafraid.
yeah,
So I've had 2 island packets. I had a 27 and now I have the 320, and almost immediately I adjusted to the larger size. It
yeah.
handles very same, very similar. And okay, so I think we answered Gabby's questions. Um what were the biggest challenges you faced while upgrading and preparing the boat for the voyage?
The electrical, because it's not something that I have worked a lot with in the past. And it's so different on a boat too. Everything is in small spaces.
Mhm.
You're tracing wires, tracing cables in the floor, in the walls, down the helm, underneath the compass. Like it's just learning the electrical on the boat. It takes a long time. So I think um, that's been probably the most challenging for me. And then learning how to splice wires and how to do all of that on your own. I've had a friend of mine's a marine electrician who's I've called him many times and asked him for advice, but you know, I've learned. So that's been challenging. It still
Well,
is.
also when you're coming behind the boats in 1995, there've been other owners, and they've sometimes you open up the instrument panel and there's some surprises from
Yeah,
something somebody else
yeah,
maybe didn't
yeah.
do quite.
And lots of wires that have been cut off, and
Yeah,
trying to figure out how do I get them out? Do I leave them? It's easier to leave them, but then do I really want a bunch of wires that's not functioning? It's just, yeah, it's a lot. But
yeah,
no, it's been good. I love learning. I think I'm pretty I'm a curious person. I love that. And it's like, oh, I can figure this out. And so I just
That's
keep going
great.
at
That's
it.
what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I admire that. Because I'm afraid to splice wires.
Oh, one,
So I've paid a lot of money to have things done because I've upgraded my boat with a lot of stuff.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
uh, okay, so you added new batteries, a stove, electronics, an alternator, a winch, a Zodiac, an anchor, Starlink, hydrovane,
Yeah.
more solar, and more. It just says and more.
Yeah.
So
Just the safety stuff, I think. Lots of safety stuff. Life rafts and e-perps and 2 e-perps. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
did it
Yeah.
already have AIS and
No,
radar?
it didn't. So I changed all my electronics that were on here. When I bought the boat, I just replaced everything with the new B&Gs, everything. So I think I have, yeah, I have a really good setup right now. But AIS is new, and
It's
it
a
worked
must.
because the Canadian Coast Guard called me the other day to see if I had seen some paddle boarders. So it made me happy because,
Oh,
oh, I'm showing up. That's
yes,
yeah, I
that's
wasn't sure I
good.
was showing up. So
And when you're in the intercoastal, the barges will
uh,
call, and if there's a tight squeeze that's coming
yeah,
up, they'll call, and it's nice to know that it's working.
yeah, yeah, it is nice. Especially it's pretty foggy on the West Coast right now. So it's good to have AIS. You can see where all the barges and the big freighters are coming and
Right.
how fast they're going and where which direction they're heading. And so yeah, it's a
Yeah.
must. I would never go without AIS.
Yeah, and it's more and more common that
Yeah,
cruisers have them too. So
yeah,
that's comforting when you're solo sailing at night,
yeah,
taking naps.
yeah, yeah.
um, how was your backgrounds growing up in Sweden and living in British Columbia influenced your sailing experience? What prepared you for this?
Well, I don't know if anything prepared me for this. Um, but well, I grew up in the southern Sweden, and basically there's 3 coasts within 45-minute drive from where I grew up. So I've um, always been on the beaches, and always been in the water. I swam competitively. Can't even say that. You know what I mean? Um,
Competitively, yeah, you said it right.
yeah, and I said, so being in the water, I have no fear. I mean, I have
Thank you.
respect for the water, but I'm not. I I don't have fear. So I'm very comfortable on the water, and it just I don't know. Like I didn't have a ton of experience sailing as a child. Um, just with friends, we would always be in boats, and yeah. So being on boats more or less all my life, but not necessarily sailing until I think it was like 15 years ago. I started sailing bigger boats. So yeah, I don't know. I think just yeah, I don't know. I think you have to be curious and you have to want to do this. Um, and you want to you
Absolutely.
yeah, and you need to have some grit, I think, because there's times where
Moxie. Some
yeah, there's
moxie.
times where you just like, oh wow, I'm so overwhelmed right now. So you do have to have that. I can do this. I just have to think through the steps, and I can troubleshoot. Um,
A lot of women will say to me, "How do you do that? How do you? I could never." And I said, "Well, you probably just don't want to do it. Because if you wanted to do it, you'd probably do it." Do
yeah,
you
I don't
agree?
know. I think it's complex for women. I think we grow up in a world where we're not necessarily brought up to be wanting to do these things. Um, I think
I
it's just
was. My
yeah.
mom was a pilot.
Well, then that's why you're sailing right now, and you're not afraid of doing it because you were yeah. So you grew up like that, and I think I grew up in Sweden where it's a lot like that. But I do know that there's a difference. for me and for some of my friends. And they say, I don't know if I could ever do that. They can and they could. It's just, they're just not there in their
Right.
mind. So, um, yeah, that's a very interesting topic, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think people in general do what they want to do.
Hmm.
Especially if I mean, I agree that sometimes people need a little push. You know, like
Yeah.
you could do this,
Mhm.
really. You know, I'm sure that does help.
Yeah.
And I did grow up with that, so
Mhm.
I agree with you. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Let's see. So you left in early. How long ago was it? Like a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yes, I met, or sorry, I left, yeah, 2 weeks ago. I left Nanaimo, BC, which is where I kind of spent my last 30 years. Um, and then I've just
Wow.
slowly made my way um, to different places. I picked up my son. We sailed around, picked up some friends here and there, and yeah, I've just stopped. I haven't sailed a lot during these last 2 weeks. What I've done is just gone over my boat and making sure that everything is the way it should be.
Yeah.
So
Not being in too much of a hurry, making sure everything's working.
yeah, yeah, I
That's
think it's
smart.
more important to, because I mean, you know how to sail. You just, but it's the systems that you need to know exactly what's happening with them.
Very smart. So Marion, who is my assistant, by the way, she says, I was too. My mom was very adventurous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You need the role
um,
models.
you need what?
You need the role model, especially strong. Like you need female role models or people to encourage you. And yeah,
True.
I think it's important
Yeah.
those early years in life.
So what has been the most rewarding part of the journey so far? I would include, and what keeps you motivated? And I would include like the whole process of starting to sell everything off, and now it must feel very freeing right now. We talked a little bit about that already, but what would you say is the most rewarding so far? Do you feel really free?
Yeah, I feel very free. When I look around this boat, I've taken everything from my house that really meant stuff. So I have a lot of books. I have some photos of my kids. I've got little knickknacks, and I have some, paintings. Um, but so I look around myself, and I just feel like this is all I need. Um,
Yeah.
that feels good. And I don't really have anything I don't need. Too many books, maybe, but yeah. And the most rewarding is working on my boat and fixing things. As an example, my key wouldn't turn the engine on the first try. It took 3, 4 times, and I was like, "Oh no, this is not good." So I started looking around the engine, and I just came across a bare wire that was going into the solenoid for the starter.
Okay. I know what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and there, and it was in a bit of a 90-degree angle, and I just thought, I don't know, that doesn't look good. So, I taped it up and straightened it up and cleaned it all up, and the key has turned on every first try.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Just
impressed.
yeah, and it's just one of those things I just guessed. And I mean, it might
Right.
be something else, but it certainly helped the engine. So those things, or when I changed all the oils myself, and it felt so good to have done that, and just yeah, just the maintenance and the little repairs and the little changes that I make, and when you fix something on your own, that feels really good.
Well, I'm an admirer already. I was before we met. Um, when I saw your post. Let's see. All right, we're not to Mexico yet, so
No, not even
w-
close.
well, we've already talked a little bit about this, but can you share any particularly how you stay connected and maintain communication with loved ones while at sea? I'm
Well, I
sure
have
a lot
to.
of people have a question about that, like, do you get lonely, that kind of
Well,
thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't. I mean, I used to kayak a lot on the west coast here on the Vancouver Island. It's pretty remote, and I have spent almost 2 weeks on my own at times, and I just love it. I do. And I mean that this would have been years ago before even self service, and there's no self service out there. So, but I feel at peace when I get those big chunks of alone time. And so I think, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'll be, I think I feel good. I don't know. You never know. But I mean, I have Starlink. And so with that, you can fire that up for, half an hour and just connect with, I have 2 kids, so they're going to want to hear from me on fairly regular basis, I think. And they
Sure.
also have a ship finder, so they know that they can see where my boat is. And
Right.
yeah, and I'll connect with through my blog. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep Facebook and Instagram alive, but definitely keep contact through my log.
Oh, yeah, I was about to give your Facebook and Instagram.
Oh yeah. No,
So,
I'll check in there because I know, and my parents especially, they enjoy seeing my posts there. So yeah.
so are you intending on maybe just doing the blog, or are you gonna in what way are you gonna document?
Blog mostly, and then I'll throw some, if I have some really good pictures, then I'll throw them on Facebook and Instagram. But
Okay.
most of my writing will be on my blog probably. I
Okay.
just feel
Tell
like
us what that is. That was what I don't have that in
no,
front of
it's
me.
the blog is sailaway12.com,
Okay.
and it's something I started when I bought the boat. I just want a way to document things that I was doing to the boat, repairs, and just my experience. And so it's a sailaway12.com, and it's just a WordPress kind of site where I just go
Yeah.
on.
That's where I got some of that information.
Yeah,
So Augustus has something else to say here. Well, I think we already answered why a 40. The
yeah,
simplified rigging, sail handling on the 320, 350, 370, 380, etc. The better 316 stainless chain plates. Yeah, on the 320 rather than the 332, and the 350 rather than the 35. They made a better grade of stainless. Have
yeah.
you replaced the original chain plates?
Um, I think, well, I know it was inspected thoroughly before I bought the boat. It was part of the survey. I don't know if they were original or not, but they were inspected. And yeah, so that is one of the worries about Island Packet. I think it's one of the, why people
Yeah, it's
hesitate.
because they're embedded in the fiberglass.
Yeah, it's,
Were they able to? I don't know how they inspect that part. I guess it is a concern because
yeah,
you don't know because you can't see them.
no,
Um,
I think you just, I mean, I don't know, but if there's any sign of corrosion anywhere, that's a
yeah.
sign. So yeah, no, it is a concern, and I don't know if I just, yeah.
Okay, and Augustus had another question. If you
Yeah.
like, and I'm not sure what this is. If you like HR, did you look for Regina of Vindo 38? I'm not sure what that means. Do you know what that means?
N- uh, no, I don't know. If you like HR, I guess Regina and Vindu 38, is that, I don't know those boats actually.
Okay, I guess it's someone maybe I can interview. Maybe that's Augustus. You'll have to explain a little more on that.
Is that a
So yeah,
model
so
of HR maybe, or is it a different? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Okay, so Gabby's wanting the blog
It's sailaway12.com.
sailaway12.com.
Yes.
Okay, with number 12.
Yes.
There you go, Gabby. Thanks for asking. Thanks for everybody participating. We got quite a few people watching, so anybody can ask questions, especially on YouTube and Facebook. Let's see. Oh, I need to introduce tonight's sponsor, which is me. So, in case you didn't know, my name is Tinsley Myrick. I'm with Remax of Orange Beach, and I sell Gulfront condos and homes and non-waterfront too. I've been doing this for 21 years. I'm pretty darn good at it. And there's the email, Tinsley at tinsley.myrick.com. And then there's my phone number. So if I can help you in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Alabama, or Perdido Key, Florida. I'm licensed in Florida too. I don't go all the way through Florida, but Perdido Key, Florida, I do cover. So thank you for that. And there's the picture of me on the boat with my Remax of Orange Beach over there. And oh, by the way, let me show you my boat real quick. That's my boat now. That's the Island Packet 320. So you can see all my cruising gear there. I got it out. You see the Starlink up there.
Yep.
So anyway, okay. What advice would you give to someone dreaming of a similar adventure but unsure where to start?
Just start looking at boats.
I like it. Just start.
Yeah, just do it, because you can overthink everything, and start researching boats and see what you want. I mean, it comes down to money as well. Look at, have a price in mind, and then just start looking, and it'll just lead you that way. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to sell a house.
Yes, if you're not independently wealthy.
Yeah.
Let's see. How beautiful is the sailing on the western coast of Canada? Did you consider going north to Alaska versus south to Mexico? Gabby's
Yeah.
got some great questions.
I've sailed up to Alaska in the past, not solo, but the coastline of the Canadian West Coast is absolutely gorgeous. It's wild, it's remote, it's fjords everywhere, wildlife, bear. You have bear, you have orc, you have. It's endless. We have wolf, we have everything here, and I've sailed up and down the coast a few times, and I absolutely love. Now it's colder. You need good clothing, and so no. Part of the reason I'm going south is because I want to continue west once I hit Mexico. I want to continue to Galapagos and then into the French Polynesia, and then just hopefully get stuck in some tropical communities for a few years, and then continue west from there, and either end up in Norway where all my siblings are, or in Sweden where my parents are. And if I just loved sailing so much, I'll continue and circumnavigate and do a full circumnavigation.
Do you know your route?
Yeah, pretty much. No, not exactly. I have Galapagos. After Mexico, I want to go to Galapagos, maybe down Central America a little bit, and then across to Marquesas. And then from Marquesas, I don't really know, but I want to see all the islands, or most of them. You can't see all of the islands, but most of the islands. And then I'd like to go to New Zealand and Australia and through Indonesia. And then continue towards Thailand and India. And yeah, and I don't want to go through the Suez Canal, but I do want to go around Africa and St. Helena, and then
stay south and across the Indian Ocean.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's years down the road, and
right. You got plenty of time to map that whole thing out.
Yeah. And I've never been to New Zealand, so I was thinking it'd be fun to stop there and maybe go from. I like mountain biking, so I'm thinking I'm going to rent a mountain bike and see what kind of trails I can find in New Zealand. So
absolutely.
But the beautiful thing about not having to be back for work is that you don't have to go anywhere. You can just
I'm
stay put in
envious.
places. Yeah.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to pull up a few pictures here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm jealous. Okay, so this was like the morning you left, I think. You said because the post says that you were having breakfast and you were leaving. So
Yeah. That was outside of where is that? That's Gabriola Island, which is outside of a city called Nanaimo. Yeah, and that's the third day, I think. The first day, I felt really overwhelmed,
yeah,
and it felt surreal. And then the second day, as I went further and further south on the coast of Vancouver Island here, I just felt more and more free, and kind of hit me. Yeah, I'm doing this. And one morning, I remember saying to myself, "Wow, I'm sailing to Mexico." Seems
as
crazy.
long as you got enough money, you're good.
Yeah, but as long as the boat's holding up.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And where's this?
that's actually Nanaimo. That's me just puttering around. After I sold my car, I didn't have a car, so I had my Zodiac. So I had to go
Sure.
from store to store in my Zodiac.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That's the photo on Facebook. Oh, that's my dog. That's the
Yes,
photo
I
on
know.
Facebook um, that's the advertisement actually for the boat that my friend said, "Hey, look at this," and yeah, yeah, it's pretty.
Okay, your dog is now in England.
Yeah, my daughter lives in England. She lives in where does she live?
That's a funny picture.
Yeah, so she lives in Portsmouth in England, and she's teaching there. And this was difficult because he was only 3 years old, and I knew he just couldn't be on the boat. He was not supposed to be on the boat. They were supposed to be walking in the
Oh,
forest. So she said, "I'll take him." So I flew him there. So yeah.
wow. Well, I know that's got to be hard. I actually interviewed a sailor near Portsmouth
Yeah. Oh, okay.
in England. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. So let's see what else we got here. Oh, so someone starting the dream, there's got to be more to it.
Oh,
Not every,
there's got to be
come
more.
on now. You're
I don't
selling
know.
yourself short. There's more to it.
um, I think it's got to do with me
You
wanting.
first of all, you sounds like you retired. You retired, so you worked all those years.
Yeah, I did. I just, I
You
enjoyed
saved.
teach. Sorry, I
You
saved.
saved up.
No, I sold my house.
Okay. All
um,
right.
no, I felt like I enjoyed teaching. Taught grade 6, 7. Um, but I just knew there was something else that I wanted to do. It just wasn't fulfilling enough. Um, and I just thought, I wanted to do something big, and I knew how to sail, and it's free. Once you have the boat, it's free. I know boats are super expensive, but once you have it all and you have done all the upgrades and the repairs and the every day is cheap once you're on the boat.
Yeah,
So
especially if you're not staying in marinas.
yeah, which I haven't been till today because I'm yeah. But
That's the way to do it.
yeah, it is. And yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else? I think it was just wanting to do something else. Just other
I
than
like
paying
it.
bills. I just feel like you work and you pay bills, and at the end of the day, you don't have any money leftovers because you're giving it to the
Right.
bank, and you're paying hydro, and you're paying, and it's not cheap anymore, especially not, I don't know what it's like in the USA, but in Canada, it's very expensive lately.
I think
Food.
everywhere it is.
Yeah, but I think especially because I always compare to Scandinavia, where it's always been expensive, but Canada is more expensive now than Scandinavia is, and the
Oh,
salaries
wow.
and the salaries have not kept up. So we're making less here, and we're expensive. So it was just, I just felt like I was always paying bills, and there wasn't enough fulfillment.
I
So
like it. And you're healthy. And I
yeah,
know that you were doing other things. You mentioned kayaking, and I saw a picture of you skiing, and you
yeah,
said mountain biking.
yeah. I've always been really involved in outdoor activities, and so I think this fits my lifestyle. Um, so I'm not really afraid of um,
Right.
you know, living on basic food or having a simple
Yeah.
like a yeah. So um, yeah, so it just fits. The sailing fits with my life.
That's great. So, people out there watching and listening, because this will be on audio podcast sites too, get in shape,
Yeah,
work out. um, what is your next stop? Tell us again where you are.
I'm in Victoria, British Columbia right now, which is right across from Port Townsend and Port Angeles, so just above Seattle. Um,
Okay.
so I'm still in Canada. I have crossed over the border a few times, some tax back and forth, but I haven't actually checked in yet with the Canadian, or sorry, with the U.S. Border, which I have to do before I leave in case I have to go, because I'm doing an offshore. If everything goes well, I want to be about 150 miles off the coast, all the way down.
Oh,
But if something happens, like big storms, which it shouldn't at this time of the year, September is the best month you can do that offshore passage. But
and
if I do have to go in for some reason, then I have my paperwork and I'm cleared to go in. So I want to look after that within the next few
what
days here.
what makes you want to stay 150 miles offshore?
It's
Is there a reason?
yeah, the ocean floors here are it's um it's a bit complex. The floors are very shallow, especially Oregon coast, Washington coast. So
Yeah.
they create a lot of turbulence in the water
Ah,
and
yeah,
big
like the
waves.
Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you can stay 100 to 200, I would say closer. I'd like to stay 150 miles off the coast. Then it's a little more predictable. Um,
Okay.
so bigger waves, but they're not necessarily breaking. It's just a nice push down. In September, you're on going to be on Broad Reach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so the whole way down, it's mostly northwesterlies. So that's yeah. But being off the coast, like the coast, the Oregon coast it's dangerous in my opinion. Um, it's just too lively.
Yeah, so
It's
Augustus says
oh yeah,
from Tatoosh south to the Columbia Bar,
yeah,
keep an eye out for logs. And this is
yeah,
you're going to be out further and all
yeah,
this. And crab pots coming in and out of harbors on the
yeah.
Oregon coast. Water stays cold all the way to LA. So
So
far is ever present.
fog is ever present.
Fog.
Lots of
Oh,
fog. We
okay.
have fog. We have lots of fogs right now here. Um, enough that yeah, you don't want to sail if you can help it. But that's another reason why I want to get off the coast as far as I can. They say
And you be beyond the fog because the
yeah,
land is where the
yeah,
fog starts,
yeah,
right?
um, yeah. So I do. There is other boats going around the same time, so there will
Oh,
be a
nice.
chance. Like I would like to stay close enough to other boats, so within five 5 nautical miles, so that I can have radio contact if I need to, and just for somebody, just so I can check in with other people.
Yeah.
Um, So if I don't have crew, which I haven't decided yet if that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to at least have some buddy boats around me. So.
Are you planning on going inshore at all? Going
No,
down the West Coast?
not if I can help it. I might go into San Diego.
Okay.
I want to do one big
Wow. That's a
tack
long
out.
trip.
It's about 3 weeks. 2 weeks to San Diego and another week and a bit. So to Baja.
Oh, here, Augustus, this is good stuff right here. You can inspect the chain plates without X-ray equipment, keeping the area around the chain plate tabs. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that it might be possible for X-ray with X-ray equipment. Um, yeah, it's something that if you could swing that, I don't know, stop somewhere where there's X-ray equipment.
Yeah. Maybe Port Townsend has it. I'm not sure. That's kind
Yeah.
of one of the major.
It is important. You don't want to lose the mast. That would be inconvenient. And he says HR equals Hallberg Rassi.
Yeah, Hallberg Rassi. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was
Augustus is on fire.
Yeah.
What's that?
The other names he threw out, the Regina and Vindo, that was what we were asking, I think.
Okay. All right. I wonder where he is. And Augustus, where are you? You sound like you might be on the West Coast. He knows a lot about the West Coast. So when I check in with you, we're going to do this again, if you will agree to it. Maybe after once you get into Mexico, because one of the things I like to ask, and I'm not going to do it this time, is ask your 2 favorite anchorages. I like to do that with sailors and pull them up, on Google Maps. So when you get down there, you'll probably be discovering new ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
You already have some ideas of where you're going to go?
No, no, I don't actually. I haven't looked into it. So I don't really know.
You'll discover it by the time you get there. I like that. I'm like you. I'm like, I'll figure it out, a few days before I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says the link works fine. We'll subscribe, and good luck out there. Thanks, Tinsley, for putting these sessions out there. I'm not sure what the link is, but okay. But yeah, so I'll touch base with you when you're in. I'll reach out to you when you get to Mexico.
Okay.
And we'll talk about some of the anchorages you find, because it sounds like that's what you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, once I'm in Mexico, I'll be
okay.
Maybe yeah, maybe along the Baja, the west coast of Baja. I'm not sure.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. I wish I could just make my boat get there right now and go sail over there. All right. Well, I have one more question. Let's see if we've already covered it. What are your future plans and goals once you reach Mexico? Well, you're going to go to the Galapagos, but how long are you planning on staying in that area before you head across the Pacific?
Well, it all depends on the hurricanes. Once I get down into Mexico, hurricane season starts, I think, November. So it's either you get to Baja and you kind of continue right away quickly, or you kind of hunker down in the protected area. Yeah, so I haven't decided. It's all depends on how this big offshore passage goes. But I have no real time frames for anything, because whatever happens is going to happen. So
now, how will I know? You'll be on the. Are you going to post on Facebook or anything when you get to Mexico?
Yeah, I will.
Or San Diego or Baja or.
Yeah, I'll post when I get.
Okay.
For sure. So.
All right. So he says Desolation Sound. He likes, where's that, Augustus? Augustus, I need to have you on the podcast. If you could email me at saltyabandon@gmail.com. I need to get you on this podcast. You're full of information. So you know where that is?
Local. Yeah, I do. I've been there lots. It's beautiful. It's Desolation Sound.
Oh,
yeah, it's
right. That's where you are.
So in Nanaimo, where I kind of spent the 30 years. It's just not too far from there, like a couple of
Okay.
days sailing. You're in Desolation Sound. So
He must be Canadian
yeah,
or Oregon.
or yeah, or Washington. He might be from the
Right.
North.
Augustus, saltyabandon at Gmail. Email me. All right. Well, anything else that you'd like to say? Anything that I didn't cover?
No, I think
Any advice for anybody?
no.
Because
Like
this is a great adventure you're on.
just go for it. Don't just don't second. Just do it. If you
Don't
want to
think too
do it,
much.
do it. No, don't think about it too much. So
Yeah. Well, you got a great boat. That
yeah,
boat's going to take care of you.
yeah. That's
Get,
what I hear. Island Package takes better care of you than people take care of the boat. That's what I hear.
yeah. Take care of those chain plates.
I
X-ray.
will. Thank you.
All right. Well, I always like to go out the same way. Let me find. I'm stumbling around here. Okay. I always end my podcast with salty abandon out.